It's been a while, but I figure now's a good time as ever to take a look at a few deals from the eShop that can be found this upcoming weekend. There's lots of good stuff on sale, and I've gathered up a nice selection of highlights that should especially be intriguing for those who picked up the new Switch 2 system. We got a lot of good stuff to cover today, so let's dive into it. For those who have caught my original Switch games boosted on Switch 2 series that I've done this past month, you will probably remember me talking about a certain game called Cult of the Lamb, a game where it gets boosted to 60 FPS on the new system. It's a night and day difference. On the original Switch, the game is capped to 30 FPS, and the game has a lot of difficulty even maintaining that when stuff gets pretty crazy. Aside from the odd hiccup here and there, the game performs pretty well on the new hardware, with a nice boost to overall clarity. It looks a lot better, and the load times have been reduced from before too. It's all good stuff now. As far as the game itself, it is a lot of fun, a gameplay hybrid of sim games and roguelike action games. You gotta take care of your cult members and grow your flock, customizing your cult area, performing sacrifices, and all that, while going on quests and crusades and fighting against the monsters and demons in the surrounding areas. The game's received a lot of updates too, a ton of them, all free, which have added a substantial amount of content to the game. The Cultist edition, which includes the main game, and the Cultist decoration pack, is on sale for 50% off on the eShop. It's an excellent deal, I highly recommend checking this out. Dave the Diver will be getting a free Switch 2 upgrade real soon on the eShop, so owners of the original game can look forward to that at no additional cost. In the meantime, if you want to check out this game and pick it up at discount, the game is currently on sale for 35% off, knocking a decent chunk off the MSRP. Also, while we're here, there's some nice DLC to be aware of. The Ichiban's Holiday Content Pack is on sale for 50% off for their first time ever. This features characters from the Like a Dragon series, joining up with the crew from the main game, in various minigames and events. There's even some beat-em-up action here. Additionally, the Godzilla Content DLC Pack is back on the eShop, and it's completely free to get. Make sure to claim that before it gets delisted again. Finally, there's the Dredge Content Pack that's free on the eShop too, so definitely make sure to pick that up if you intend to pick up the game. Jitsu Squad is a pretty insane beat-em-up that has you taking control of one of the 4 animal members of the Jitsu Squad, fighters that aim to save the day from the bad guys. Each fighter is pretty unique with their own style and series of moves. Speaking of which, what is neat about the gameplay is that it's heavily inspired by fighting games, particularly the Marvel vs. Capcom series, where in order to attack, you're going to need to time your button presses and perform button combinations to perform special moves and chain together for combos. The game also features a tag system too, where in single-player play, you can actually switch between the 4 characters and perform combos that way too. The game is a lot of fun. I got some reviews on the channel if you want to check them out if you're curious about the full details of the game. And after some patches, the original Switch version is pretty darn good to play. It's on sale this week on the eShop for 70% off, which makes it the cheapest it's ever been on there. When the game is played on the Switch 2, which is where all the footage shown here is recorded from, the game is absolutely rock solid from what I've played so far. 60 FPS all the way, and the load times have been improved a bit too. The puzzle adventure game, The Last Campfire, is extremely cheap this week, with 87% knocked off the MSRP. This game from Hello Games has you playing as a soul named Amber, and as them, you'll need to explore and solve various puzzles on your quest to gather up all the forlorns, lost souls who have lost hope and their sense of purpose. It's actually a really nice game with a nice story behind it that sports a wide range of puzzles to solve. Some small, some pretty big, with plenty of variety and helps to keep things fresh. On both the original Switch and the Switch 2, the game does play at 60 FPS, but on the new system, it's pretty much rock solid in that regard, and it's locked to that frame rate. For as cheap as it is, if you love puzzle games, then consider this a no-brainer to pick up from the sale. Little Nightmares 2 for the original Switch gets a pretty insane discount this week, knocking 90% off the MSRP price tag on the eShop, which makes it the cheapest it's ever been on there yet. The previous low for the game on the North American eShop was just under $10, so yeah, this deal makes it pretty cheap on there, around $3. Now personally, I really like this entry, maybe more so than the first one. It is a puzzle platformer and horror adventure game, just like the first game, but this time, instead of working alone, you often have to work together with another character, Six, who was the main character from the first game. It creates an interesting dynamic as you gotta work together with that character, but you also gotta help them out and lead them to safety. Now I gotta be honest, the Switch version does take a big hit in its clarity. It's blurrier than the other versions of the game out there. When the game is played on the Switch 2, it's still not as clear, so hopefully this game does get some sort of patch down the line. But for now, keep that in mind if you plan to pick up this game. The footage shown here is the Switch 1 version of the game being played on the Switch 2. There is a demo on the eShop to check out if you're curious. The original Switch version of No Man's Sky is a pretty incredible port. Hello Games somehow made the game work on the hybrid system, including nearly all the features from the core game, except for multiplayer. Beyond that, it still gets updates and all that, just like the regular versions. Of course, sacrifices had to be made. It doesn't look anywhere near as pretty compared to other versions of this game out there, and that was to be expected, but hey, it is No Man's Sky on the Switch, and it's very much playable. Currently, it's on sale for 60% off on the eShop, and for those who want to pick it up or already have the game, you can actually get a free upgrade for the game on the Switch 2. Speaking of which, the Switch 2 version is pretty incredible. Players who get the free upgrade or pick up the Switch 2 version of the game will get treated to the full experience of No Man's Sky, and it's looking pretty incredible too, in docked and handheld play. We get much improved textures here, and better geometry, and better details, better draw distance, and image quality, and plus it has everything all the other versions have. All the updates, cross-save support, and of course, online multiplayer. As far as the frame rate goes, I actually opted to disable the frame rate cap, which usually caps the game to 30 FPS. With the cap unlocked, you'll get a much higher frame rate, and while you'll get dips that you normally would not see with the frame rate lock turned on, it's been pretty good for the most part and hasn't bothered me at all. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is another one that's pretty much a miracle port for their original Switch system. It's incredible that they made that game work on the system, though obviously they had to make some sacrifices in the visual department to make that game work. That and the performance isn't the best. I mean, there is a lot of frame rate drops, and it's pretty often that it'll dip below 30 FPS. Now don't get it twisted, I'm not bashing the game, but it is just the limits of what the game can do on the old hardware, and I played through it just fine a few years ago. On Switch 2, the original Switch version does get a nice boost. For one, we can turn on all post-processing effects, and it won't have any negative impact on the performance at all. Combined with all the post-processing effects turned on, the game looks better with a seemingly higher resolution image and clearer picture quality, and on top of that, the frame rate is rock solid at 30 FPS. The game just looks and performs a lot better now, especially in handheld play. I mean, I'm hoping for an eventual dedicated Switch 2 port, but for now, I'll gladly take this. It's a nice improvement over how the game used to be. If you're looking to pick up the game, the Complete Edition is on sale for 75% off. This edition includes all the DLC expansions, all the updates, and has cross-save support too. It's a good deal for one of the best RPGs out there. Finally, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition for the Switch 2 gets its first sale, 10% off the eShop price. Yes, I know it's not a big discount, but the game just literally came out last month. At the very least, this sale gives me an excuse to talk briefly about my experience with the Switch 2 version of the game. I actually just completed a playthrough not too long ago, going through the main game, plenty of the side missions, and the Phantom Liberty expansion, and I gotta say, I've had a blast. The Switch 2 version is excellent. It looks fantastic in handheld and dock play, moving through the city and the environments, and I'm really impressed with how everything has looked and how the game has performed. The frame rate has held up. It's really smooth for the most part. The only performance issues that I came across was during certain aspects of Phantom Liberty, which is kinda notorious for its optimization anyway. It's not nearly as optimized as the main game. Beyond that, sometimes driving around the city during certain busy sections could have some frame rate hiccups, but I expected that to happen. On foot, adventuring, exploring, and combat and all that, the game is great though. I love it. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with this port for the new system. And there you go, some highlights from the latest eShop sale. Let me know down below if you played any of these games, especially if you have on the new system. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to post that down below. But for now, that is it from me today. Make sure you're subscribed and click that notification bell so you do not miss out on any future videos. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you soon on the next video.